Well, the U.S. is on its way to the finals in the World Baseball Classic once again, that as they look to win the tournament for the first time since 2017. And with early favorites, the Dominican Republic and Japan both out of the tournament, could this be the U.S.'s year? Or could the tournament darling Italy continue to surprise us? Joining us now from Lone Depot Park in Miami, home to the finals, is FOS reporter Eric Fisher. Eric, great to see you as always. I guess, how would you describe the energy right now in Miami?
It's been electric. This tournament has been a massive success, both quantitatively and qualitatively. The play has been fantastic. The fans have been responding. We're seeing record numbers for both attendance and viewership. This thing is taking off, and I think probably the clearest indication that you probably could have seen is when Aaron Judge, arguably the best player in the sport, has been to a World Series, has all the accolades, multiple MVPs. He's out there saying this is bigger and better than the World Series. It's just, and, this is a guy known for keeping it pretty close to the vest. For him to sort of come out with that outpouring of emotion, it just kind of speaks to the power that this tournament now has.
Well, so let's dive into that because you wrote extensively on this. I guess, obviously, ratings wise, it's not bigger than the World Series, especially given the one that we had last year. But this also comes at the beginning of the tournament. You had Bryce Harper saying that this is not as good as the Olympics. So I guess, where does the WBC stand?
It's such in a good spot. It's just very much its own thing. It's important to remember that this was created in part because Major League Baseball and the IOC 20 plus years ago couldn't agree on a structure to shut down the MLB season in the heart of the season with the biggest attendance days and weeks of the entire year to go play in the Olympics. So Bud Selig and a bunch of other folks got together and created what we now have. And it's been on a long, slow build, but you really kind of start to see the hockey stick trajectory taking off. And, no, in the pure sense, it's not the World Series. It's not the Olympics, but it's becoming very much its own really strong, really great thing.
How much also is the United States incredibly lucky from that disastrous game that they had against Italy? And you had manager Mark DeRosa, incorrectly stating that he thought the U.S. was on its way to the quarterfinals when they weren't, which is why he benched most of the good players on the roster, from Alex Bregman to so many others. Did they really catch a break? Because if the U.S. didn't advance and play as well as they have, and then also beat the Dominicans, could this have been really a disaster for the U.S. team, given how good they are?
Yeah, we could have been having a very different conversation. A lot of things have broken right for the U.S. team in the last few days, starting with that Italy Mexico game that broke in U.S. favor so they could get the other quarterfinal slot. Now Japan and the Dominican Republic are out of the tournament. The U.S. will be heavily favored tomorrow, regardless of whether they play Italy or Venezuela in the final. So yes, a lot of things have broken right. And it was a mistake, in the statement that Mark DeRosa said, but in some fairness, its tiebreaker rules are really, really complicated. Didn't get some good guidance, but I'm not sure that, it was up to him with all the other things that he's got to do to sort of pour through all of that in real time.
Obviously, one of the things that fans have loved the most in Major League Baseball has been the automated balls and strikes system, the ABS system. We don't have that in the World Baseball Classic. It seems like we could have used it in the last game. Is that something that maybe could be on the table for future tournaments?
Oh, without question. It's really just a question of logistics. There's already conceptual buy-in, and we're obviously going to see this in Major League Baseball this year. But it's just the technology, the cameras and the imaging technology needs to be installed at all of the competition sites, which is a different sort of ball of wax when you get into the Tokyo Dome and some of the other non-MLB venues. But you also have to have an imaging of every participating player in their strike zone. That's obviously already happened at the major league level. That's going to be used for ABS in the majors this year. But once those logistical hurdles are crossed, and again, this is just a matter of buckling down and doing it, we will definitely see ABS in the next tournament.
Eric, one other thing I think is really interesting is this year, Netflix had the exclusive streaming rights to the games in Japan, which obviously we know Netflix is going to become a big partner for Major League Baseball this year. But there is a report and some worry in Japan, who, by the way, is the defending champions of this thing, that maybe the ratings might be down this year because a lot of people in Japan aren't streaming the games on Netflix. Netflix.
Yeah, I haven't seen any Japanese numbers come out yet. That viewership data takes a little bit longer to tabulate and make its way to this part of the world. We saw the same thing with the World Series last year, that there was an additional lag compared to even what we're used to here in the United States. That all said, what your question really speaks to is that there's a completely different streaming culture in Japan. There's much more of an acclamation towards having free television and free over the air content. The streaming culture and all the many services that we all have and subscribe to and jockey, manage on all of those. That's much more of an ingrained part of US culture than it is Japanese culture. So this was really kind of a tip of the spear kind of initiative that Netflix had in Japan. They'd like to get to a kind of penetration and cultural impact that we have here with the US with streaming. We're just not there yet, but you put these big events on there. This is how you create that culture. So it's going to be very interesting to see. But your point is well taken that getting balanced in the quarters probably not helpful.
No, very true. And of course, Netflix has the opening day for Major League Baseball this season. Eric, any other storylines or things that you're watching while you're out there for the semifinal tonight?
I just really continue to be taken by the impact of these local fans, like a lot of major events, even though these are national, international events. This is very much a local draw that you've got local fans from the Miami area coming out. This ballpark was completely full last night, probably will be again tonight and certainly again tomorrow. Lots of energy, nothing like what we see with the Marlins games. And I had a chance to talk to the MLB Players Association head yesterday, and he was kind of remarking about this, that, you see the passion that actually does exist in this market for baseball. It's just not being maximized by the local franchise. And it's really hard to argue with that point. And this tournament and what's happening here with the energy here in the ballpark, and it's quiet right now, but it's going to get real loud in a few hours, that this market is a much better baseball town than it's been given a reason to, given what the Marlins have done over the years.
Yes, and what we see in the crowds on television. By the way, that would be a sellout crowd behind you for most traditional Marlins games.
This is what I'm
Eric, just
saying.
your good stuff is always. We're so jealous, Eric. Keep up the great work, Eric. Thank you so very much.
Very good.
And stay with Brought Up in Sports, everyone, for more on the business and culture of sports.